and welcome to Lay Stories, where everyone has a story worth sharing. I am your host, Kara, and today I am honored to share space with and get to talk with and make lay with a very special guest. She is a friend, a sister, a mother, a fellow flower enthusiast and pua lover just like me, and my very own grand auntie. Aunty Flo is quick-witted, she's super funny, and she's such a joy to be around. As we hear about her story, as she shares about her life, we'll be making beautiful plumeria lei using this assortment of pua melia. We'll be using the ku'i polole method, which means stringing in a straight, single pattern. And I'd just like to ask you, Aunty Flo, how many plumeria trees do you have in your yard?
You want to talk about cuttings or you want to talk about trees?
Whatever you'd like to share.
I have 5 trees.
5 trees.
And I have 27 cuttings from the Haleiwa farm and other sources.
Wow, plumeria grove in the making.
Yeah. I don't have enough room, but there's going to be plumeria all over the place at some point.
I love it. It must smell so good. As we begin to make our lei, Aunty Flo, I'd just like to ask you to tell the beginnings of your story. Where did your story begin? Where were you? Who was around? Fill us in.
I was born in Kohala in a plantation town called Union Mill. I don't know if it still exists. Very close to Hawi. In fact, I think the post office is Hawi. And when I was 2 years old, we moved to Pahala, also on the Big Island, and my younger sister was born there. And then we moved to Kona when I was 4 years old and stayed there until I graduated from high school from Kona Waina in 1957.
Wow. How many siblings are in your family?
I am number 9 of 10 kids. Actually, there's 11, but the 11th is my father's second family.
So tell me, how many girls and how many boys?
We have 7 girls and, goodness, and 2 boys.
7 girls.
I'm sorry, 7 boys and 3. 7 girls and 3 boys.
What was it like to be number 9 out of 11?
Hectic. When you were called to eat dinner, you sat quickly and you hurried and picked whatever it was from the middle of the table. It was plantation style, and it was with a bench, no chairs or anything, and it was hectic. It was loud. It was noisy, but it was fun too. When you're sitting at the table, the food. The meal is in the middle of the table and you have your own place to sit.
Yeah.
And you just grab from the middle of the table whatever food there is.
Free for all.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so it was fun because we were the younger 2 of the family, we actually had a chance to not have anything, and so you had to be quick.
Yeah.
And so that's how it was.
Tell me about what your family instilled in you, values-wise, from your siblings, parents, the culture that they tried to create for you.
I think because we came from a family that my parents were from the Philippines, it was authoritarian. My father was the boss. He called the shots. There was no democracy. And if you had any opinions differing from what he said, you didn't really have a voice. And so that was how it was. And you listened to authority and you listened to what they said, or otherwise, as they call it, get lickings.
Yeah.
And so I had my share.
Sure.
Yes.
You talk about not having a voice.
Yes.
So let's fast forward your life a little bit. You grew up in the Big Island, various parts of the Big Island.
Yes.
And what eventually moved you over to Oahu?
I attended the University of Hawaii as
Manoa campus?
Manoa
Okay.
campus, but it was just for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more of an introduction to the real world, so
Yeah.
to speak, because all my life, well, not all my life, from the time I was 4 years old until I was 16 or 17 years old, we picked coffee. And it was during the time that Kona students picked coffee during its summer months.
Mm-hmm.
So we started school in November and we ended our school year in August. So I graduated in August of
Okay.
1957. And the coffee season was usually between August to November.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what our school year was like. And that was a routine until I was, I think it's changed now, but it used to be the schedule for school.
So I wanted to talk about a little bit more about how that was like for you, not having a voice, right, in
Yes.
your childhood, and then coming to the real world, like you said, and exploring your adulthood, your identity as an adult. What was that? How did you navigate that?
Well, you know, the strangest part about it is that being number 9,
Yeah.
I made it a point for myself to have my own voice. And in school, I was in the 8th grade, I think it was, and there was a declamation contest for the entire school. And I was the only 8th grader who signed up for it. And
Wow.
so the winners of the declamation contest were seniors, a senior or somebody higher, in a higher grade. And I was in the 8th grade and I won 3rd place. And I got a dictionary for it. But I made it a point to sort of transcend my situation. I didn't get heard at home, but
Yeah.
I wanted to be sure I was heard someplace else. And I think that was a driving force for me.
Mm-hmm.
I also signed up for, if there was an opening to sing at the school assembly, I tended to do that,
Yeah.
be the first one to sign up. I wasn't afraid to do that because it seemed like my classmates didn't want to. And so I stood out because I was the only one who said, okay, I'll sing a song. And, you know, it was a simple song. One was Long, Long Ago, which I don't know if anybody knows that song anymore. But other songs like that, I challenged myself, I think it was, to do well, to be heard, to be seen, or whatever the case was,
Yeah.
and excel in that way and to be heard.
Takes a lot of boldness and a
Well-
lot of courage to step out
Yet
in that way.
it was, I found that to be what motivated me. And to this day, my younger sister tells me that I seem to excel when situations are stressful and when there's anxiety or something. And so maybe that's true. And I tend still, I shouldn't say this out loud, to wait until the last week before I can do something, even though I have a whole month to prepare for something. For example is paying a bill for insurance that is due on the 27th,
Yeah.
and then I start worrying about it on the 22nd, and then I think, oh, I have time, you know. But I like the tension, I think.
Yeah. The challenge is what invigorates you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing.
Okay.
Do you have that too?
I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit, but I really like this story because it's one of resilience, it seems, on your end. Or there's something that you were missing, right? You were missing a voice, or you were missing being heard or seen, and you're trying to get it.
Yeah.
And so nothing's going to stop you,
Yeah.
right? So
And I think too, it's like I can do it.
yeah,
You know, it's
a belief in yourself.
Yeah. And so what if I'm waiting until the 4th day before it's due? You know, it doesn't matter because I can do it. And what do I end up doing? Well, now we have the option, and so what I end up doing is I'll call up and make my payment online.
So bring us back to this time of trying, and you don't maybe see it as courage, but I do. I see it as courage, and you see it as maybe just thriving in the face of challenge. Who was in your corner during that time?
Nobody. Not
Nobody.
really, no.
Just you.
Just me.
Nobody believed in you.
Nobody. And it was, well, I had teachers who believed in me.
Yeah.
But teachers are, when you're in school, you know, it's not somebody that talks to you at night and tell you, you know what, Flo, it's okay, it'll be okay, you can do this, and you know. So it was self-motivating. I think it was a matter for me to come to my own realization about what I had to do. It's just that I procrastinated.
Sure. Did you have any moments where you felt like giving up?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Walk us through what that was like.
My whole thing is, I believe until today, is just to hang on. Even when it's hard, even when it's trying, even when it's, you want to cry and you do, just hang on, because it's going to be okay. And nobody said the word okay to me. You know, it was just that if I just hung on, it'll be okay. I can remember times when I thought, how difficult this is. Is there anybody else who's suffering the same way? I don't know if the word is suffer, the same way that I am. And if there is, they must have survived it, because nobody is in the corner crying. You know, they must have all survived their difficulties, and if they survive their difficulties, so can I.
So this idea that if they can do it, I can do it too.
Yes. It didn't necessarily mean that I was successful all the time. It means that I climbed the pole. For example, I went to a, self-improvement class. And one of the things we did was outdoors activity. And you had to climb a utility pole, I don't know, 30 feet or something. They harnessed you and you climbed up the pole. And I was the first one to go up on that pole.
The first one.
That was the first one. And I thought, you know, if anybody's going to go and make a fool of herself, might as well be me. Because
gutsy.
Yeah, or stupid, you know. It was, and so anyway, just think about me climbing that pole.
Yeah.
And telling myself, everybody is watching me climb that pole.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a fool of myself, but who cares? Because they have to climb this whole pole themselves. And so let's see how much better they're going to be compared to me. You know, I mean, it was challenging myself in that way.
On this note of challenge, and you talk about something I heard earlier about you, just an idea of success or achievement, or just kind of pushing to be better. You took a self-improvement class,
yes.
You said. What, you know, lei is often used to commemorate, honor, celebrate a certain milestone in life, an achievement. They're used to adorn people after performances or after races. What is maybe one big milestone or achievement that you can think of that maybe would deserve its own lei?
One of the achievements that I can look back on is completing the steps to become a distinguished Toastmaster.
What is that?
And Toastmasters is a group based in California, and they help people to overcome their shyness, their fear of speaking and getting in front of an audience and expressing themselves correctly, using the theory that they have about opening and body and close. And when this was offered at the place of my employment,
Mm-hmm.
I took it on because it was another challenge, because I can speak,
You can speak.
and I will speak. And so I started as a regular Toastmaster, which is a member. And I think the first year I decided I would become president the following year.
Did you have to get elected for that?
Yes.
Okay, so others believed in you as well. They must have.
Yeah, they must have, I think.
I mean, you can nominate yourself, or
Yeah, well, they're eager for other people to be involved. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
You know, they were president before, and let Flo become a president, and we'll see what she can do. And I enjoyed that. And the following year, I became vice president of something else, and vice president of something else. And then I became involved with the district, which is District 49 for Toastmasters. And I started as, I think it was PR or something like that. And then the following year, I was vice president of another thing. And then the third year, I was vying for the head of the district, which is district governor, but I didn't make it. But I think the process of going through it, of finding what you had to do to meet all of the goals in order to become district governor, that made me grow up. And it also made me understand that people who have goals will do anything to achieve their goals. And I didn't have the strength to fight that part of it. What I'm talking about is that I got to know raw emotion of a person who wants to become district governor, for example. And I didn't have that go power. But the process was good. The process was what helped me a lot. I think, too, because I came from a big family, it was something that I had to prove to my father that I was able to do. I think I was probably the only one, even though my sisters had the brains and they were salutatorian or whatever they were. I was the only one who stood up and actually decided I wanted to be this or I wanted to do that. And I think the whole time I was doing that, I was scared out of my mind because what am I doing? You know, am I doing this because I really want to be whatever that position was, or what do I get from it?
Sure. What did you get from it?
I think self-satisfaction and relief that I had the ability. And I think knowing yourself that even though you had a hard time, even though you lost, or even though it didn't work out the way you wanted, I did my best. And I don't believe in trying either, because trying means I'm going to try to pick up that flower. And if I don't pick it up, I don't get it. So, but I mean, I can try. I can try and try and try and try.
You
but I
believe in
won't-
doing.
I have to
Actively, yeah.
I have to get it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What a powerful message just in that. I feel like stringing your series of events, of your life events, right? Coming from a home of one of 11, not really having a voice, coming into a new territory of college and a different place, Oahu, and finding your way through becoming district
Well,
DTS, no,
a distinguished Toastmaster.
oh, DTM.
DTM.
DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster.
And I was the first one for my club, which
So you're the first
from my club.
from your club.
Yes.
So another
That's right.
achievement, another climb, if you will.
And it was, I think, when those things happened to me, I'm the only one who's cheering for myself, except, of course, for my younger sister, who will say, you know, you're doing good and all of this stuff. But the actual satisfaction doesn't come from anybody else but yourself. And when that happens, it's almost like a relief. It's almost like somebody patting you on the head and saying, it's okay, it's all right, you can do it, you know, you don't have to prove it to anybody else anymore, you know. It's okay, this is enough, you don't have to. But when the next challenge comes, I'm going to chance it. I'm going to see if I can do it.
Well, I always wonder, was there ever a point where it was enough?
No.
No?
No, not really.
You wanted to keep going?
I wanted to keep going, but not necessarily on the same speed or the same go for it attitude. You know what I mean? Because if I want it, how much do I really want this thing? I will. One of the things that I think about is for my church. I was in charge, but of course with COVID things changed. But I was in charge of the seniors. I was in charge of the prayer chain ministry. I was not in charge, but I was helping with the hospital visitations.
Okay.
And I thought, my husband said to me, my late husband said to me, how many things do you have to do before you feel happy?
That's a good question.
That's right.
That's similar to my question. How many things do you have to do until you feel satisfied in yourself, right?
And actually, it doesn't matter how many things you have, as long as the time that you decide to stop, it's okay. And I'm okay now.
You're okay now.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
okay
fine.
now.
I don't have to prove to anybody else that I can do it because I know I can. I'm gifted with the ability to speak. I have friends who make me laugh and a grandniece who makes me laugh, and I'm happy.
Beautiful. So, of all those very cool experiences that you shared, some of which I actually did not know before, what would you say would be your life motto, if you will, something you could sum up as to share with maybe your granddaughter or even with me as your grandniece, a lesson learned or something that you'd like us to take with us?
I think that everybody goes through some kind of, the word is not difficulty. I think the word is a time to stop and think. And when you stop and think, that's a time to hold on. Because it's not going to be easy all the time. It's going to be difficult. You're going to think like, you know, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? But if you just hang on, grit your teeth, and just hang on. Not tightly, because you have to be able to be flexible.
I like that. Yep.
So, you know, there's times to really hold on tight, but I think when it's having to do with life, you have to be flexible enough to run if that's what it calls for.
To shift. To shift if
shift.
you need to. If you could give this lei to anybody today, who would this lei be for?
This lei would be to my former boss, Jackie Erickson. I worked with her over 20 years at Hawaiian Electric, and she saw in me, I think, something I didn't see in myself, that I had some kind of greatness in me, that she saw. And she tolerated my rawness. I don't know if the word is tolerate, but she guided me through that because I learned so much from her. One of the things that I learned from her immediately is when you present a problem to somebody, also present a solution. Don't say the water fountain isn't working. Figure out before you bring that up what's going to happen before that water fountain can work. And what it'll mean is that you'll have to call somebody, find out who the vendors are, but you have to do that homework yourself. And I learned that very fast. And I resented it at first because I'm thinking, what do you mean I can't do it? I'm supposed to just tell you I can't do it and you're supposed to figure it out. No, with her, you present the solution and then she talks it through with me to see which is the best one to follow.
Sounds like a very empowering leadership
Oh,
style.
she's excellent, because even today when I talk with her on the phone, if I happen to have a situation, then she'll stop and say, if you look at it on another point of view, which she always did, there's this that we can consider. And I think, why didn't I think of that? So it makes me think too, now I want to, when I see a situation that needs to be completed or done, I am prepared what I need to do to complete it to the way that I want it to be. So
You've almost figured it out before you started.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she wants you to do that, because you can't rely on anybody else to do it for you.
That's right. That's right. So this lay would go to Jackie, who empowered you to be a problem solver, a forward thinker.
Yes.
Not someone who just presents a problem.
Yes.
And doesn't have a solution.
Yes.
But is thinking beyond.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And I worked with her for over 20 years, and we even retired on the same day.
Wow. Well,
so we have a kinship between us, sisterhood.
I love that. I love that. I hope that she's blessed wherever she is with this beautiful lei. Let's see. Love it. It actually could be a crown.
It could be.
This could be a beautiful lei.
That's right.
Lei po'o. And I got a beautiful
I was talking a lot.
here. No, you did a beautiful job. Thank you so much for sharing space with me and for sitting next to me, making lei with me, talking story. And thank you all for joining us here. I hope you feel uplifted. I hope you were inspired and perhaps encouraged by a bit of her story about just living humble beginnings from Big Island all the way to Oahu, and just finding her voice throughout her life. And so wherever you are, we hope that you remember that you are important and you have a story that is worth sharing as well. See you next time.